Hi Tia, how you doing? Firm, fit, and fabulous. Check her out, ladies. You want to get skin tea? It's not too late for the summer. Ronald Green, get your breaks done. How you doing, Ronald? Shout out to everyone in the Baltimore community. Hi, Ronald. How's the baby coming along? A bundle of joy. That face, though, really. Are we are live. Thank you so much for tuning in to It's Going Down with your girl Mahogany Brown. So, today I just want to introduce my guest first. We have first. I'll let her introduce herself. The awesome
Amani Sky. How you guys doing out there today?
All right. And we also have
Mr. Ali.
Mr. Ali. Hey, Siobhan, say how you doing today? All right, so the first part of the show is we're going to be talking about just what we need to be talking about right now, the violence that's happening in the Baltimore City community and streets. We are now at 152 as of today. And I just want to, because we talk so steadily about the violence in the Baltimore community, but people are losing their lives. Families are being broken. Children who grow up without a father, they no longer will have a father. People are losing their moms. And we are losing children in the Baltimore City community. So I just want to shout out a few names, the ages, and where they were slain during Baltimore, in Baltimore, exactly. So I'm going to start right now. The first murder of Baltimore City happened January 1st. We didn't wait one day. January 1st, 2017, his name was Shaymon Pearlie. He was shot and killed 1800 West Fayette Street. He was 20 years old. What were you doing at 20 years old? What were you doing at 20? Not thinking about getting shot.
No, I was far away from that. I was having fun.
Can you imagine living your life at 20 years old?
Not like that. Not losing my life at 20. No.
That's ridiculous. So I want to definitely give a shout out to Shaymon Pearlie. Also, I'm just going to go down the list to names that stick out. So we have a Dominique Daniel, 37 years old, lost his life at a 3000 block of Barclay Street. May he rest in peace. These are real people that are losing their life just around the corner from you, down the street, people we went to school with. I'm just going to read several different names. We have Marcus Smith, Darnell Webb, Brandon Anderson, Donald Simpson, Jesse Worthen, Tanya Chadwick, which is a female, James Jones, Sherman Carthers, Deontay Bluford, Sir Moody. The list goes on. I'm gonna do.
How many altogether?
Altogether, the total we have is 152.
And that's within what time span? Like
the last murder that Baltimore City was stabbed during a dispute. And a young man has been charged with the him being stabbed and killed. But Timothy Campbell, 44 years old, he lost his life at 2700 block of Washington Boulevard. We did have a day before then. We had no one killed on June 4th, 2017. That's a blessing. But right then we had several murders on the 3rd. Greg, Stephanie, who is a young female, 29 years old, lost her life. She was shot. I'm 28. I can't imagine losing my life. I have so much life ahead of me. But us living in the Baltimore City community, we are faced of not even coming home to our children because we live in a community where we refuse to talk about things and we decide to just pick up a gun and shoot each other.
It's sad.
All right. So the reason why I have Mr. Kaseem on the show today, because he is an EMT. I think if we get a visual appeal of a victim being slain, shot, being splattered along the streets of Baltimore, we can visually see that if you had to clean up these bodies, then you will understand, then it would probably affect you. If you had to go in your community alone and pick up and wash the streets of the blood splatter that's on the streets of Baltimore City right now, 152 people is ridiculous. And we haven't even started the summer. So I'm just going to ask for a visual. If you're called to a scene, someone was shot, walk me through that.
So I've been doing EMS since I was 14. I'm 43. So I got a lot of years of experience in EMS services. But I think the city of Baltimore City and Baltimore County has been the hardest for me because I come from New York City. I was born and raised there. I worked EMS there. But once I moved here in 2005, I started at Johns Hopkins. I noticed a lot of young black men from the ages of 7, 8, 9, 10, through the ages of 14, 15, 16, coming in shot dead.
Wow.
So, and being out on the streets, it's the same thing. I mean, you can roll up on a scene at any given time, and once you hear the shooting come across, it doesn't, it doesn't hit you till you get there. Once you get there, you see a child. The only thing you want to do is try to help them as fast as possible and get them to the hospital. But being on the street, it's really hard. It's really difficult. A lot of people think that it's easy for us EMS providers to cope with seeing young men, black men especially, here in the city of Baltimore slain, and it's very hard.
So do you always see a reflection of yourself? I mean, you see a young man, 21, 22, 25. You was once there at that age in life and vibrant and new, and then to go and have to clean up someone 20, 22, 25. I mean, what kind of emotional toll does that take on you?
So it's a heavy impact. It's a heavy impact on EMS providers on a contingency basis, on a daily basis. People that's in this field, it's hard to see another person that's 21, 22 years old with brain matter hanging out of their head.
Wow.
Or with chest wounds, trying to get them to the hospital fast enough to save their life. I'd like to add that, Baltimore City is rich in history, but so poor amongst the black community.
Right.
You understand me?
The value that we share.
The value, we don't have, the black community don't have the value that it used to have, and it starts at home.
It starts with the family, definitely.
It starts at home.
It starts with, not religion, but being brought up with some type of values and faith. And I know in my home, that's one thing that my parents gave us was faith and believing in God and a higher power. And there's no way anybody in my family would ever just kill somebody just to do it. It's our conscience. We just have a conscience. And a lot of these kids don't have a conscience. And we need to bring faith and God back into the schools, back into the home.
Right. So what I'm just being said is, I haven't I guess immediately been impacted by the violence that's happened in the Baltimore community. No one in my family, so I thank God for that. But have anyone here has recently had someone who's been lost or to the street? Did you want to speak on that?
I had a good girlfriend of mine pass. Well, she got killed. She is like 41.
A female.
A female.
Wow.
Someone who's not from the streets, someone who just goes to work every day and take care of kids. And she just lost her life because of the streets, because of the drugs. And she wasn't doing it. She had nothing to do with it. And she lost her life.
So where was she?
She was from West Baltimore.
Okay. And did they ever find the person?
I've never heard anything else about it since. She's just another victim.
That's a growing problem here in Baltimore, and I think that's what my concern is, being a parent. I'm a parent of 6 children, and 5 of them are females. Bullet don't have a name, number one, and being that Bullet don't have a name, it can impact anybody anytime. I'm scared of walking out of my house just to go to work sometimes because of being shot, being stabbed, being beaten. Because here in Baltimore, you have these cliques where, if one person don't like you, the whole community don't like you.
That's a problem as well.
And that's,
or gangs. If
right.
one person in this gang don't like you, the whole gang don't like you. Like, that's ridiculous.
Like, we have to do better by ourselves to teach. Like, I was just talking to a friend of mine, and he said what we as adults don't do anymore is we don't kneel down and talk to our children and look them eye to eye. Instead of talking to them, we talk down to them.
Right.
Instead of kneeling down and getting on their level and explaining to them what needs to be done, teaching them, grabbing them by the hand and showing them what needs to be done the right way. Like I said, there's no community anymore. There's no village to raise a child.
It's funny that you speak on that. My motto is each of us need all of us. As I always speak on, it takes a whole unit as a whole to kind of actively tackle this problem. No one person alone can say, "Oh, I'm gonna wake up today and I'm gonna hope that I'm gonna be an activist to change the streets of Baltimore." It takes everybody alone, because we do not know these people who are killing people. We do not know these people who are being killed. So we are aware of exactly what's going on, but it takes someone to kind of step out or be a little bit more present in their community and care and be watchful. That stop snitching. What's your thoughts on that part?
Well, I was going to say that a lot of people think that if you give our community money, that's going to change us. And to me, it has nothing to do with money. It has to do with your mindset. If you don't change your people's mindset, you would never change their way of life, because you can give them $1 million and they still going to be the same people. So if you can change their mindset, you can change their lifestyle. You can change the way they think. You can change the way we're doing things in the community. And to stop snitching thing, no snitching thing.
So what do you consider a snitch? Ali, I'm gonna let you go first. I'm gonna be last because I'm the hoodest in here.
Well,
you the hoodest.
Wait a minute. I was born. I was born and raised in the ghetto. So I was born and raised in Brooklyn. I don't know if that's hood or not.
I don't know what y'all consider snitching is. But I was always told snitches get stitches. So.
Well, we need to break that. We need to break that. So that's a problem that we have. Like, the black community don't stick up for each other anymore, and it's become a problem when I can't talk to my neighbor's child for doing something wrong, and helping them understand that you don't do this, because you're worried about the repercussions that the parent's going to give you if you say something to their child.
Right.
So, me personally, I think that if I'm going to be living here in Baltimore and I'm a homeowner and I want a good community and I want my kids to survive these streets, because Baltimore streets is tough. I'm saying that, and I'm a nigga from New York.
Oh,
you understand what I'm saying?
Right.
No, New York is tough, but Baltimore streets have changed in the last.
What borough are you from?
I'm from Brooklyn, Bedford-Stuyvesant.
Brooklyn.
Born and raised, baby.
Crown
Bed-Stuy, Bed-Stuy, do or die.
Parkway.
All day, yes, real talk. But here in Baltimore, I've seen so much. Just seeing kids coming to the hospital or picking them up off the street, like I said earlier, with half of their heads off. Like, could you imagine just going to identify your child and there's brain matter coming out, or seeing your child laying on the street and he's 15 years old and he doesn't have a face because they shot his face off, or being shot dead in the middle of the street and laying there like an animal. And so what Baltimore City has done since 2007 has changed the way homicides are determined in Baltimore City.
So if it's like drug related or something?
No.
What do you mean by that?
No, so violent crimes in Baltimore City, if you notice any time that there's a violent crime in Baltimore City, the news reporters don't say the person died at the scene. What they said was the patient was taken to a local hospital where they later died.
When they suffer from the injury.
So what happens is, if we can get the bodies off of the streets of Baltimore and taken to a hospital, the city don't have to pay the $5,000.
Wow.
For the homicide that's owed to the family.
I've heard that it is true if you
for the murder in the city.
So who would get the $5,000?
So nobody gets the murder. Nobody gets the $5,000.
Okay.
Because what happens is there's a fund that the city have that gives people money when the death is committed in the city.
Wow. So who would get the money exactly?
Nobody gets the money if they don't die in the city on the streets of Baltimore. So that's why in the city of Baltimore, everybody's.
Did the police report call that? Did the coroner record that? Who records the
city,
time of death?
Baltimore City coroners record the time of death.
And if it's in a hospital, it's not liable for the Baltimore City streets to pay the $5,000.
Correct.
Well, it's a setup.
Well, it's politics. So they did that to decrease the amount of homicides that was done in 2007, 8, 9, 10, 11, and growing. So each year it's getting worse, which, we can only pray that it gets better, but it's getting worse, and there's no money being distributed to these families.
Anybody got the $5,000? I would like to know if it's you too. I'm really serious. Have anybody seen a $5,000 that is awarded to? Because I've heard that before, but I thought it was a myth. It was literally like
I heard
urban
that
legend.
too, though. I heard that too.
No, it's not a myth.
If you get shot on the streets of Baltimore, they're
supposed to give the family at least $5,000, and most families in Baltimore can use the $5,000 because funeral costs are ridiculous.
Yeah.
Even though that we have funeral homes pretty much on every corner. They're ridiculous prices. So if I get killed in Baltimore, y'all just know to burn me.
All right, so what we've been lately talking about, like this. So what I would say is 152 is not even an accurate count.
I'm sure it's not. I'm sure that's not the most accurate count here in Baltimore City. Because what happens is they don't want the crime rate to spike so high. We're not even halfway through the year yet. Okay. Well, we're halfway through the year yet. We're just in the 6 month now, 6 month period, which my birthday is my birthday month.
Okay, happy birthday.
Okay. But they want to keep the cost down. So if they don't have, the city don't have to pay out, they don't have to worry about giving money to the families that's owed this money, then it goes back into whatever the city want to use it for.
Okay, so as a recommendation, like, what can the constituents of the Baltimore City do to be more active in the community? Is it being more watchful of what's happening in the community, being aware? What do you recommend the city of Baltimore, people in Baltimore can do to try to lessen the murders in Baltimore?
Well, first of all, Baltimore's on a big renaissance, if nobody noticed.
I'll speak on it.
We're going through a big renaissance, and if you haven't noticed in your neighborhood 1 or 2 Hispanics that never been there before, or 1 or 2 white people that's just never been before,
definitely in my
or
neighborhood.
the way they changing the streets, how they're zoning the streets. Like if you look outside on Charles Street, you'll see how they're zoning the streets and how North Avenue is being redone over. Baltimore City,
is being
West
redone over.
and East is being redone over.
Have you heard the term gentrification?
You know what regentrification means? To move the poor out of the neighborhood.
They don't.
And that's what they're doing.
But what I'm saying is, they're going to take that money and put it towards something that is going to benefit them when they move back here. So if you get killed in the city of Baltimore and your family needs $5,000, if they paid $5,000 for every name that you read off of that, or every name that was on the 152, this Baltimore City would be poor.
Okay. So we just got a visual of having sweet children off the streets, having to, from an EMT himself. I think if the people in Baltimore had to clean up the bodies, I don't think that it would be as harsh, or they would be a little bit more vigilant. To visually see someone brains falling outside their head. I remember when I first saw someone shot and killed, I was a young child, probably about 7 years old, and I was in West Baltimore, but the people around him didn't react. It was like he got shot and everybody kind of like moved out the way. And then everybody continued doing what, I mean, once the police kind of came to the scene and the EMTs came and he was taken away, like everybody finished playing the dice game. Everybody finished playing whatever they was doing. It did not affect nobody.
And that's sad.
It was really sad. I was 7 years old, and it was like someone I knew, and I'm like, nobody affected. It was like that shit happened every day. Like
it's sad when you can get, or your friend can be standing right next to you and they're shot and killed, and the only thing that you can do is say, I told him, to chill out. You know what I mean? But if it doesn't have an effect on you, it's really sad. Like it has such an impact on EMS providers that the city, people in the city, in the communities, don't understand what we see on a daily basis, on a contingency basis. When we see people get murdered, stabbed, shot, it doesn't matter how you're violently murdered. It has an effect on the providers. And some of those things that we take home with us, even though they say don't bring your job home with you. You can't tell me not to bring my job home with me when there's a 6-year-old kid that I'm doing chest compressions on,
right,
trying to save him, or a 3-year-old boy that was just mauled down by a coward in a car because his girlfriend just left him.
Wow.
You understand? Or a 75-year-old man who's sweeping his yard just got hit by a stray bullet.
Wow.
You can't tell me not to take some of those things home, because sometimes it affects. It's real.
What I always like to do, we can go on and on about the violence in Baltimore City, but I always like to shed a highlight on positive. For every negative, there's a positive. And I know Amani Sky from around the Yale Heights way, and we were both raised in the streets of Baltimore City. 2 young inner city girls just want more out of life. I met her when we were working on a play, Mama's Kitchen.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So despite anything, I always like to say I lost both of my parents at a very young age. I was the typical female that you told statistically that I would either wind up pregnant without no way of going in, not have my own home, not have my own car, won't graduate from high school. I was always told, because my mother was a heroin addict and my dad wasn't necessarily around, that I would never amount to anything. And I'm pretty sure Kiki heard the same thing. So I always give inspirational side before I end my first segment. And I just want to talk to you about, no matter what you face in the streets of Baltimore City, Miss Amani Sky, what have you decided to do to try to change your impact and have a new outlook in life?
Well, first of all, I have to give everything to God. You know, I have faith first, God first, and then me second. And I'm doing His will. And I'm surrendering my life for Him.
Right.
And I'm an actress, and I feel like I can reach people through my acting. And there's a lot of roles out here and a lot of stories that can be told. And I feel like with my talent that God has given me, I can tell them stories.
Okay.
And, you know, it wasn't hard. It wasn't easy for me. I grew up, you know, in a city, just like most of us have. I went through abuse as a child. I was in foster care. I've been through a lot of things. And one thing I always knew growing up is that it was something special about me. I was different. And I always knew that I was going to do something great. So I just try to stay focused and keep my mind off negativity at all times.
Okay.
And never give up on your dreams. Never give up on your dreams. Keep fighting for your dreams. Stay in church. Go to church to know God. Get to know God. That's the best thing I can tell you.
What inspired you to want to be an actress? I mean, versus you can partake in the fast streets of Baltimore City. You can go and be at the club every night. You can do a lot of things. What made you say, I want to be outside of this? I want to grow outside of this and want to be and have my story to kind of work and be a catalyst for other women to say, okay, let me be your voice. Let me stand up for you. What made you want to be an actress?
Well, I knew I wanted to be an actress since I was 12 years old. I haven't seen a lot of people, you know, growing up make it outside of Baltimore. But I just wanted to be able to do something that could impact our community. And I think, like I said, if I can become an actress, then I could reach a bigger platform of people.
Right.
You know, not just having a regular job. I can't reach a lot of people. But being an actress, I can. And I could do a lot of good in our community. And that's what inspires me to want to be an actress. So,
okay, well, I want to just reach out because I also want to talk about my nonprofit. It's called Helping the Women of Tomorrow Today, which Ms. Kiki is going to be helping me on. And it's about inspiring young women to be better than they inspired to be outside of these streets of Baltimore. We only see negative, so when you dwell in the essence of negative, that's all you'll ever be is negative. But if you have someone inspiring you to be something greater than what you look outward to, then you can be inspired to be great. So that's what's Helping the Women of Tomorrow Today is about. So we're about to go to commercial break. Our next segment. Okay, so I want to have Ms. Mahogany Scott talk about her social media contact.
Yes, you can reach me on Facebook, Amani Sky, Instagram, Amani _Sky, UNV83. And also I have a new project coming up called Complications. It's a web series. You can go to complications.com or on YouTube and look us up. And I will be in season 2 and some sexy stuff going on, so watch out.
Woo! And if you want to have more information about EMTs, if you're aspiring to be an EMT, if you want to know more about being an EMT, how would you contact Mr. Ali?
So, well, Baltimore City Community College in Baltimore, BCC or CCC?
BCC.
Yeah. They do have the EMT programs going on there.
We need more EMTs, please.
We need more EMTs. We need more. Well, first of all, we need more medical providers. We need more young black medical providers that live in the community that can police their community and serve their community as EMS providers, because every minute counts. So the more EMS providers that you have here that's from the community, the less violence I think that you'll have.
All right, so how can we find you on social media?
You can find me on Kaseem, Always Faithful Ali on Facebook.
Thank you for tuning in for your first segment of It's Going Down with your girl Mahogany Brown. Tune in next as we have Stokely, a phenomenal person in the Baltimore City community, talk about what he's doing in Baltimore, and also Brittany Joyner, who lost so much weight and learning to make health your lifestyle. Thank you.
Thank you.